Hello, my friends. I am here. Hopefully, you can hear me. Oh, we've got Key with first today, and we got Pi here as well. Pi, are you home from work? How's it going? I will start off with a hydration. Yeah, it looked like you just barely got in before Pi there. Pi with 140 stream streak. Holy wow. Pi, thank you so much for hanging out and for always dropping by. Sideways, hello. Wasn't at work today, had a neurologist appointment. How did the appointment go, Pi? I hope it went well, although I imagine maybe you didn't get results right away. I have to actually, speaking of appointments, I have to log into my physical therapy here and record that I did my first exercise for the day. I'll have to let her know that when I go see her tomorrow that I don't I don't necessarily mark them off at the exact time that I do them. Apparently there must be sales happening on Steam. I'm getting emails. Joe, hello, how's it going? Learned nothing new, sent for more things, gotta go to the hospital to do some more specific tests. It sounds like they're looking for something, Pi. I hope they find what they need to find for you. I hope you don't have to do too many more tests, but good luck. I also have lots of tests coming up, so... Sideways, how's it going? Lorenzo's back. Ferret names are in. 5 of them have names. Do we get to know the names? Do we get to know them? How many do you have? How many ferrets do you have? Rai, hello. Welcome in. I hope you're doing better today. I know you said you had the acid reflux. Oh my goodness. Sorry that I was tiny bit late getting actually done with coffee. I had to send Ghost Pepper a quick. He wants to run to our model shop where we get a lot of our models this afternoon, but he forgot to grab his punch card. So I sent him a picture of the current punch card in case he goes today, so he can be like, I have this, how can we amalgamate them later? 10 ferrets! Dang! Do they have, like, a room that they are in? Do they have, like, an enclosure? Do they have their own, like, little ferret paradise that they live in? Most are babies. What are the 5 names that you've picked so far? I don't want to say much because nothing is really known, but the MRI showed some changes. Not a tumor, that's for certain. Well, Pi, good luck. I hope they find what they need to find. I got an MRI myself coming up, not this Saturday, but next Saturday, so that's going to be interesting. Although mine is a spine scan instead of a neurological one, so... Got the lumbar area to look at. But I hope they get you the information that you need, Pi. Sorry, yawns. I have not I've not had enough coffee yet this morning. Joe, how are you doing? What are you up to? Is it waifu daily time? Ferret babies are wild. Ferrets are just so cute, man. I remember when I was younger reading Redwall, and I was always so sad that the ferrets were, like, the bad guys in that series. I mean, maybe they're more predatory in the wild, but I've always just found that ferrets are, like, super sweet. And they love to have fun. Sardonisms, hello, how's it going? I take it that maybe you're feeling eepy. Striker, Circe, Gandalf, Ghost, and Fudge. Those are wonderful names. I love them all. I don't get to snuggle them, but I already love them. I hope that when you next visit the ferrets, you will give them all scritches from us and tell them Striker's Twitch chat loves you, and so does she. Didn't have any emoji results for dead. Oh, I have one for you. I have one for you, Sardonisms from Ghost. It sounds like you've been very busy with work stuff lately, Sardonisms. Took about 2 of those names from Game of Thrones. I mean, hey. I figured maybe that was where Circe came from. Ghost, also my husband. Technically it's called Honk Shu, but I know what it actually looks like. Oh my goodness. It's hard to do laying down emotes. Miz tried to do one for me and it just didn't quite, like, fit in the frame. Who husband? I thought you got promoted to friends. Oh no, he's still my husband. He hasn't divorced me yet, and he's not going to because he's stuck with me forever until the end of days. I've let him know, but there's no getting out of this. He said yes, and now he's stuck with me forever. And that's how love works, I think. Yes, I know it is. Jon Snow's direwolf is named Ghost, but I thought of my husband, Ghost. Miz randomly demotes me all the time. No, Key, why? Do you tease her? Kiki Calico, hello! He's stuck with me. Exactly. Exactly. It's funny because on Sunday night, we went out for my birthday early because we thought that Ghost was going to be out of town this weekend, but he's not. He's actually in town, so we went early. We went extra early. My birthday's technically on Monday, but we went out last Sunday for dinner because we didn't want it to be, like, crammed into a weekend when he was half away for a school trip. So I had a drink then, and then I came home and I had another drink. It was a Mai Tai that I had here at home. Had a martini when we were out, had a Mai Tai when we got home. And so, you know, by the end of the night after he had gone to bed, I was decently tipsy. And when I'm drunk, I send drunk texts. I think Key got one. I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on. I drunk Discord messaged Key, and I sent a bunch of other drunk DMs to one of the group chats that Ghost Pepper's in. And I guess he didn't see them when he went to work, and then the very next morning, Monday morning, I super derped, because I go on autopilot when I use the coffee maker, and I had decided to use coffee grounds on Monday instead of full bean coffee like I usually do. And there's a special part of the coffee maker that you have to put the grounds in so that they don't go through the grinder. And I just was on full autopilot and I dumped my grounds into the bean hopper instead. And I instantly was like, fuck. But luckily I have a tendency to drop the beans like in the front part of the hopper and then sweep them back towards the grinder hole. So none of the grounds went, or very few of the grounds went like down into the hole. So I very quickly turned off and unplugged the machine, scraped out the grounds, it back into the scoop, and then used like a paper towel to get the ones that I couldn't get any other way. And then I sent a message to the Discord about my derpage, and Ghost was like, yeah, so when you read that whole thing in sequence, it paints a really interesting picture. And I was like, presenting your wife. You're stuck with me. Congratulations. Like, I know that you guys think from watching my streams and seeing me talk about how I organize my stuff and how I get my projects done and all that. I know that you guys think that I'm very poised and put together, and that is not true. That's not true at all. I'm a huge derp. I derp all the time. And Monday morning, I almost put coffee grounds through the grinder of my $800 coffee machine. That's how put together I am. I should figure out how to sleep. I've been awake since yesterday. Sideways, have you tried laying in bed and staring at the ceiling and contemplating the state of the universe? And if that didn't work, have you tried some nice, relaxing tea? If he divorces you, I'll sick my ferrets on him. I will let him know, Lorenzo. I appreciate that. This is also an appropriate emote now that I think about it. You got a drunk text recently. I hope it was a good one. Mine are usually like, I love you, you're amazing, and badass, and don't let the world tell you otherwise. Those are pretty much the kind of texts. I think the one I sent to Key was, you're a really great friend, and then in all caps, take that. I remember the last part of the text was in all caps, and it was like, take that. Yeah. You aren't getting away from the fact that you're a good friend, so take that. She's a woman in her 40s, yeah, acts like a child when drunk. Is that your... Did you just say your mom is a woman in her 40s but acts like a child when drunk? Because that's an apt description of me. My mom was like, honey, I want pizza, but I was like, no, our local pizza place isn't even local, it's 40 minutes away, and she cried! Yeah, I would cry too, man. If I wanted pizza and I couldn't have it, I did for 4 hours and then I decided to paint. Try a nice, if you, well, I guess this depends on your supplies. If you have a nice chamomile tea, if you don't have chamomile tea, anything herbal, anything rooibos, which are all caffeine-free, nice, relaxing teas. I use gentle, soothing rain sounds to drift me off to sleep. Oh no, I'm the same age as your mom, Lorenzo? Well, maybe not the exact same age, but close. That's fair, Sideways. Any relaxing drink that doesn't have caffeine might help you relax enough to sleep. Just don't, like, drink coffee and then try to go to sleep. I'm assuming that's Rough Buddy is referring to the fact that I'm in my 40s and act like a child when I'm drunk. I don't mind. That's just who I am. That's just my life. How much coffee do you drink every day, Sideways? 'Cause, that, if coffee makes you tired, that's an indication that you drink too much of it. Hey, Faded Stardust, how's it going? She once texted me while drunk, baby, I want to cuddle, but I was overseas. Was that text maybe meant for someone else? You can apply however it fits a lot here. That's true. That's true, Key. It could also apply to the not drinking tea. Oh, see, yeah, that's why coffee makes you tired, Sideways. The more caffeine you drink in a day, the more it loses its, stimulant. She was like, cuddles Yumi couch now, it was scary. So yeah, it sounds like maybe she was trying to get someone else to snuggle with her. Here's how coffee and subsequently energy drinks, because they have caffeine in them, work. The reason why caffeine works as a stimulant is it's the exact same shape as the molecule that our brain produces to tell us that we're tired. So it bonds to those neurons instead of the sleepy enzyme, and it prevents you from feeling sleepy for a little while. But here's the thing, you still need to feel sleepy. So your brain produces more neurons so that you can get the sleepy enzyme and feel sleepy. And if you keep drinking more caffeine and you keep bonding those caffeine molecules where the enzyme should go, your brain keeps producing more of the neurons, and eventually you have so many of the neurons that sense when you're tired that you don't get the stimulating effect from energy drinks or coffee anymore. Caffeine stops being a stimulant. Now you can reverse that process by taking a few days away from drinking caffeine. The reason why you get a headache when you stop drinking caffeine is because those excess neurons die. They wither away because they're no longer needed. But you go back to having a regular amount of neurons. So sideways, if you have been drinking a lot of energy drinks, probably a good idea to take a day or two off of drinking energy drinks, because that will allow your brain to sort of rebalance. The streak is back, Faded Stardust. Thank you so much for hanging out. I know you hang out here way more often than Twitch reflects, and I appreciate that. Are you done with appointments for today, Stardust? It seems like you have had a lot of appointments this week. Although I have 2 appointments coming up tomorrow myself, so... But yeah, there you go. I talk about how caffeine works a lot on this stream because I think it's fascinating. I think it's fascinating that, like, your brain is just like, you're not tired enough yet. Let me produce more of the thing that will make you tired. So me consuming a ton of caffeine, then forgetting it entirely for a week or 2 isn't great. It's actually, I mean, consuming a ton of caffeine in a short period of time is bad for you because it can cause your heart rate to accelerate. Caffeine is a stimulant. If you overstimulate, then that's bad. But taking a break from caffeine is never a bad thing because your body readjusts to not having it and it kind of resets. So if you go 2 weeks without drinking any caffeine, your body basically resets. And then the next time you drink caffeine, you're going to get that stimulant boost from it because your neurons will have reset. Don't think I have another medical appointment until July. Cheers! I have an MRI for June 8th, so I've already got appointments booked for June. Not June 8th, June 6th. I have an MRI, and then June 8th I have my first therapy appointment, so... which counts as a medical appointment, I assume. It's medicine for my brain. I've had so many appointments lately. And it's been a lot to juggle, but I keep trying to remind myself that I'm doing all of this so that I can get better and not have another major freak out of my body. So, you know, it's a lot, but it's important, and I'm trying to keep on top of it. Today, as you can see from the down below, we're working on My Little Domerin. This is the fanfic that I promised y'all I'd write because you helped me buy Langdale, my computer, who, you know, gave me lots of heart attacks back in November and December and didn't help the situation super much, but he's still hanging in there. He's still going. And we are writing this fanfic. Which is going to take a lot longer to publish now that I publish bi-weekly blog posts, but it has been a major help to me to have that extra wiggle room in my schedule, so we're probably going to stick with it. We wrote episode 9, act 1 of this literally the week I destroyed myself. I think it was the Wednesday stream that we wrote this in this last, and then the Thursday stream was the one where I bent over to put something in the dishwasher and my body was like, you're done, bitch, you're done for a long ass time. So I haven't really looked at or thought about this fanfic much until pretty much yesterday. So I believe it was April 16th that I hurt myself, so it was April 15th was the last time I did anything with this, and today it is May 28th, and we are looking at it again. So the challenge here is to make it sound like only a couple days passed, or no time at all passed between when I wrote episode 9 act 1 and episode 9 act 2. If you haven't had this experience already, someday you will, and just so you know, it's a special kind of challenge to write the first part of something, walk away from it for a month or 6, and then come back and try to figure out how to make it sound like the same thing. So that's my challenge for today. I do have a plan, thankfully. Like I said yesterday, I spent some time going over the last chapter. I'm probably still going to have to open it a couple times to make references to it, but I spent some time going over the last chapter. I do have a plan for where I want this act to go, and I do have a plan for where I want the overall story to go. So we're in good shape. As long as I can write coherently, which, you know, theoretically I should be able to do. Theoretically. So that's the goal for today, is to work on that. So I haven't talked about it a ton, but I have switched my blog over to a bi-weekly release schedule. So I used to have a blog going out every week, except for weeks when I was taking a vacation. They now go out every other week, so pretty much 2 posts per month, usually 1 blog, 1 freebie, unless something disrupts the schedule for some reason. This month we have 2 freebies because last month we ended up having 2 blogs. So I'm hopefully getting that back into regular rotation. And I'm probably just going to keep it like this moving forward. Because 1, my life isn't so interesting that I have stuff to say about it every other week anyway. And 2, it actually opens up a lot of breathing space for me in my schedule to not have to have content going out every week. So it does mean it's going to take probably the rest of the year to get all of the My Little Domerin fanfic published. But it also means that I won't be literally breaking my back to get it done. So, you know, I think we're going to go with that one. Editing is how you make it sound the same. This won't be edited. My freebies do not get editing. You're technically right. Editing is how you would fix that problem. If this was a novel that I was planning to actually polish up and publish, that is absolutely what I would do. You're 100% right. But my freebies are just whatever raw thing I write. Disclaimer, if you read this, it'll be rough because it's just whatever word vomit flowed from my brain at the time. I don't generally have time in my schedule to do edits, but you are correct. Usually you would have the grace of edits to fix things. But it is a common problem for writers. So if you've ever written something and then stepped aside and taken a big break and been like, oh no, how do I get back into that project? It's okay. Because it's a very normal problem for writers to have. It happens all the time. I think Stephen King talked about how, because he had written the first what was it, the first 3 or 4 books in the Dark Tower series. And then he had just taken a huge break. Like, he had just dropped off writing them. And it was decades, I think it was like a decade or 2 later that he finally picked it up and finished the last, I think it was like 2 or 3 books. And so there was this scene that he had written, like, very young, and literally it was like 15-20 years later when he wrote the scene that came directly after that. So it's a very common thing among writers to work on something, walk away, come back, have to try to make it sound the same. So don't panic. I'm not gonna panic about this one either, although I'm also not gonna fix it. But my main concern was not necessarily remembering what my plan was and then just having the whole plot take a swerve into completely new territory. And I don't think that will happen because I do remember what my plan was. I sat down this morning and looked over things and thought about it, and I was like, yes, this makes sense. What I have in mind to do for this act does make sense. Hopefully. Unless I'm totally crazy, which we can't fully discount. So, there we go. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm yawning again. Oh, I need to chug some of this coffee. I won't. But I need to. But I won't. I'm actually drinking a blend of 2 coffees today, and it works pretty well. One is like a really dark cocoa-y tasting roast, and one is a lighter roast that has a little bit of orange in it, so it's almost like an orange chocolate coffee. It's really good. It's actually really good. I do need to look up one more thing. So I think I put a name in here that I need to find. news again. Alright. The name we need to remember, chat, is Lightfoot the Great. Regarding your question, if her drunk text was for someone else, they were not. They were mostly for me because we used to cuddle on the couch and watch movies when I was a tot. Ah, I see. She's not 40. I forgot she's 36. I'm sorry. I need to go AFK and cry. Pardon me, I need to go shed the tears of an almost 41-year-old. How old are you, Lorenzo? If you don't mind me asking. You don't have to answer. Just turned 20. Okay. So mathematically, I'm assuming that she was 16? Lightfoot the Great. Alright. Hopefully I can remember that. Probably gonna need to name the squire too, but we'll do that in situ. Alright. I think at this point I have prepared... Sorry, I'm just going over my very minimum amount of notes that I have. Actually am very close to what I estimated number of chapters wise that this would be. Lorenzo, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate you. Please remember to give the ferrets some scritches from us. And I hope your mom is doing well. Your mom who's younger than me. Okay, yeah, actually, going back to look at my plan, I'm actually pretty close to what the plan is. That surprises me, because I thought I had meandered so far off the beaten path that I was just trying to end it before this became a 100 chapter fic. But I'm actually pretty darn close to where I planned to be. So I'm gonna take my usual quick cheeky break to get my coffee reheated and to get myself settled brain-wise. If I could stop yawning and sneezing, that'd be fabulous. If anyone would like to redeem a location, an activity, or a spirit companion, you can go ahead and do that while I'm gone, and I'll set that up when I get back. Otherwise, we might hang out with Domerin playing some music in his bedroom, which is where we're hanging out now. And we're gonna do the usual 3 sprints today, unless I somehow magically finish in 2, but I don't think that will happen. So we're gonna be doing the usual 3 sprints today. And even if I did finish in 2, we'd probably do a 3rd sprint and I'd just work on something else. But we're gonna be doing the usual. I'm going to be manually controlling the start of sprints instead of using the break timer. And I'll be doing the usual stretches in between, although not this time. The piggy that came with the garden DLC. Don't remember the name. I know which one you mean. It's this boy. She says prematurely. This boy. I even got a rainbow blanket for him and everything. We can change more of this stuff when we get back, if need be. I don't know why I said it that way. It's like I'm a magician getting ready to disappear. Get ready for the smoke puff, and I'll be back in a new puff of smoke. Yeah, Domerin and his little rainbow piggy. I like that he's eating spicy ramen and playing the guitar. It's actually a very Domerin thing. Marathon, I shall hit the save button even though I haven't written anything yet. Also, how you doing, Marathon? I'm gonna pop AFK, but I will see you when I get back. How you doing? Also, everyone else, get up, stretch, move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink, because we are settling in for 30 minutes of focus. Marathon says, I'm okay just relaxing for the evening, since it do be kind of late here. Marathon, I know that it's much later in the day for you than it is for us, so I hope you have a nice relaxing evening, and I'll get some clicky clacks to soothe you on your way. Oh, hang on, I gotta go check something. 1 second. Had to check on something for Ghost Pepper quick. All right. Let's get settled in for the clickiest of the clackies. To click into clack. I tried to go over onto OBS and hit start session, but that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Hey, Mad Lad, how's it going? Bought a new game plus some DLC. Which game, Mad Lad? Not quite getting the hang of it, so I'm taking a break. Other than that, just trying to avoid the sun. England decided to have a heat wave this week. Oh no, do you have AC, Mad Lad? I know that there's not a lot of AC in England, so heat waves do be not great if you don't have the AC. Today hasn't been bad, but I'm still missing the icy winters. Crusader Kings 3, Ghost Pepper loves that game. If you have any questions, you can always ask Ghost Pepper in the Discord. He loves that game and he's so good at it. There is definitely a learning curve with that game as well. It's a very dense game. Welcome back, Lorenzo. I was completely lost even with the tutorial because I was making marriages, then I'm at war, then the peasants are revolting, and suddenly everyone I know and love, including me, is dying of smallpox. Yeah, Mad Lad, if you want a crash course in that game, shoot Ghost Pepper a message. He loves that game. He can explain the mechanics to you. And hey, maybe someday your wife will die and your 4-year-old son will take you out to a tavern to drink in mourning, which happened in one of Ghost Pepper's games. They may have patched that now, actually. Did the conversation not go well, Lorenzo? Yeah, Ghost also, in the past, has tried to eat the Pope on stream. And by eat the Pope, I mean, like, cannibalism. Well, how did she think you wouldn't know? Math is a thing. But Lorenzo, why does it bother you so much that she had you when she was 16? If I can ask. I've heard about the cannibalism and inbreeding. I cannot lie and say that wasn't a contributing factor to my impulse buy. Excellent. Excellent, mad lad. Honestly, I think my mom was like 16 or 17 when she had me as well, so... Carly, hello, and thank you for the 5-stream streak. Lorenzo, enjoy your lurk. Sorry, I know I'm being quiet at the moment as I am focusing on the Sprutus font. Enjoy your nap. Peter, hello, welcome in. Why am I trying to... Why am I trying to highlight this and see how many words I did? I can see in the corner. We're at 1,637 words first sprint. And working our way steadily through the first scene, hoping to do 2 scenes today for this act. Once again, as usual, I'm meandering a little bit more than anticipated, but I think it's going well. I think I'm going to be able to do what I want to do with this scene. Peter, I'm doing pretty good today. I had a bit of a pain spike yesterday, but I'm doing a lot better today. Just a little bit of sciatica today, and it's not bugging me too much. Also, Harley, I can't remember if I asked because I was sprinting, but how you doing today? I hope you're doing well. But yeah, I'm doing quite a bit better than I was yesterday. Definitely had a bit of a frustrating pain spike yesterday, but today I'm doing a bit better. How are you doing, Peter? Are you by any chance feeling any better today? Do you have good days and bad days with the pain, Peter? Does it sometimes chill out and give you an opportunity to do the stuff? Sciatica sounds like a gritty early 2000s sci-fi show that the critics would love, but it get canceled after 2 seasons. It is an interesting name, for sure. It's because they named it the sciatic nerve. I don't know why they chose... I don't know, like, the etymology behind that. Just wanted to wait till after the sprint. No worries. Sometimes I can't remember how much I responded to during the sprint, because I did get, like, laser focused at the end there. Doing alright, just woke up not too long ago. Had some weird dreams. Man, I had weird dreams last night, too, now that you mention it. I had a dream that I went to see my doctor to, like, check in with, like, everything that's going on with me, which I don't have an appointment to do. I do have an appointment with my osteopath, but not with my, like, medical doctor. But I had a dream that I went to the doctor and she was like, "You're not drinking enough water. You need to drink 2,000 water." And in the dream I was just like, okay, yeah, I need to drink 2,000 units of water. Like, I don't know what the 2,000 was. I don't know if it was like, it definitely wasn't cups, but I don't know if it was like milliliters. What would 2,000 milliliters be in cups? I'm very curious now. Milliliters, let's see, milliliters to ounces. Okay, so it'd be like 68 ounces. Okay, that's only like 8.5 cups. But still, that's a lot of, like, how much water are you supposed to drink per day? Oh, apparently you need like 11.5 cups of water. You need like 2.7 liters. So actually, actually the dream wasn't wrong if it was milliliters. I guess I do need to drink 2,000 milliliters. That seems like so much water. 2,000 milliliters equals 2 liters. Yeah, that's about how much you're supposed to drink. As a woman, you're supposed to drink like 2.5 liters. So mathematically, your dreams were accurate. But yeah, so, but I woke up and I was like, what does that mean? You have to drink 2,000, like, 2,000 water. Because I couldn't remember, like, what unit she said in the dream. So... Oh, my goodness, sorry. I am hydrating for Harley. I will don the octopus marathon, although you guys won't be able to see it. My camera turned on today. Yeah, so that happened, and then I also dreamed that I adopted a cat, question mark, because it looked more like a capybara. It didn't look like a cat, it didn't act like a cat. It looked like a capybara, but I kept calling it a cat. And I named him Bolo, but even in the dream, I couldn't remember what the name came from. Like, his shortened version of his name was Bolo. But there was supposed to be a longer version of his name, but I forgot it in the dream, yet still insisted that his name was Bolo. And I fed him something at one point, and it looked like he unhinged his jaw to eat it. It was a very weird night. It was a very weird night. Is that not a D&D thing? Like, you did 8 damage? I mean, somebody saying you have to drink 2,000 water? I don't know how that would be related to D&D. But yeah. I also, at one point, walked out of my bedroom into a house that wasn't my house, instantly recognized that it wasn't my house, and then stepped through a mirror. And I think it was after I stepped through the mirror that I adopted the cat that was not a cat. It was definitely a capybara. Or some weird, you know, dream capybara that was able to unhinge its jaw and eat something that was almost the same size as its body. If anyone else wants to share their dreams, feel free. Those were mine. It was a weird night. What's funny is in the dream, I specifically said that Bolo was short for some name that Cauliflumps came up with. But I couldn't, even in the dream, I couldn't remember what the full name was. Just that it was Bolo. Let's phone Flumps on stream and make him explain himself. I do believe that he is working with children's at the moment, so he will be unreachable, unfortunately. Also, he'll have no idea what my brain was talking about. Like, this was my fever dream. I just think it's funny. I just think it's funny that someone very clearly looked at me in a dream and was like, the amount of water that you need to drink is 2,000. And I was just like, okay, yeah, sure. I need to drink 2,000 water. just phone him and be like, who the hell is Bolo? It was short for something. I just think it's so funny, too, that even in the dream I couldn't remember what it was short for. I insisted that there was a full name and that I had chosen, and that the short version of it was Bolo, but I could not remember for the life of me what the full name was. But I was like, fuck it. Bolo, come over here. First was being hired to kick out a squatter that was living in the basement of an old mansion. No weapons other than the random junk the squatter had. Oh, interesting. Hans Bolo from Star Wars. Have you ever seen that? There's a video that someone made where they're like, my friend has never actually seen Star Wars and this is what she thinks the story is about. And it's like a person who's only kind of like seen bits and pieces of Star Wars or like heard about it from their friends trying to say what they think the story is, and it's fucking hilarious. I think she calls him like Hans Olo or something. Brains are weird, man. gonna take a quick break and go do my stretchy stretches so that we can get started on the second sprint here. So I'm gonna be gone a little bit longer than last time because I have to do some of my physical therapy stretches. But Harley, please feel free to continue telling us about how it went with getting the squatter out of the basement. And I'll read about it when I get back. 9 times out of 10, most of my dreams involve one or both of my parents. Sometimes I just have the most random dreams, and last night was one of those times. I think it was because I woke up and I rolled into a different position and I just kind of dozed, like I didn't really fall deeply asleep again, so I was just kind of hanging out at like the early stage of REM sleep, and my brain was just like doing whatever, and it was just really weird. But anyway, I shall be right the back, and I will catch up on chat. Don't forget to get up, stretch, move around, grab something to eat and or drink, because very important if you've been sitting for a while, especially if you sat for the last sprint, to get up and move, and we will resume shortly. So Harley says, the dream just ended. I never know what happened as it skipped to trying to break rare games to get into dev mode. Then it skipped to driving to my work parking lot where people were cleaning up broken plastic. And it was coming from the muffler of my car stuffed with broken CD cases. Dang! Ocelot, hello! How's it going? How are you, my friend? Man, brains do be weird. Brains do be weird. Let's see. Let's go hang out in Domerin's kitchen. To be able to like see the kitchen. There we go. And who shall we hang out with? Who shallst we hang out with? Let's hang out with this little mushroom guy, because I do love him. And we're not chopping mushrooms, so, you know. I might be moving house around the 20th June-ish, which is good news, but also scary because change. Listen, I'm assuming that you guys are moving to a place that you will like better than the place that you live now, which is good. Moving sucks. It's always a pain in the butt. And I also feel the same way about change, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good change. And then we might get to see each other. If it's that early, then I might have time for some adventures. Heck yeah. We can have him pan fry. No, we're not gonna fry the mushroom guy. He's a sentient creature. I still love that I gave Domerin all the red appliances. I don't know why I made his kitchen this way. Like, I don't know why I gave him red appliances, but you know what? That's what he's got. Alright. I am gonna get the second sprint started. The goal is to finish the current scene and start the last scene, although I think the second scene is going to be shorter than the first one. No, you don't eat your friends, Peter. Why did I say that? He's gonna clip it. He's clipping it right now. I've backed myself into these things. Today we're working on the My Little Domerin fanfic. We're about 1,600 words into this act. I'm on mobile, so can you say it again? In about 10 minutes. I'm afraid not, Peter. I'm afraid I can't speak anymore. Ocelot, what are you up to? Are you prepping for the move now, or are you finishing up some other stuff that you've been working on? I'm gonna get the timer started, but also you guys feel free to keep chatting. We were talking about weird dreams and whatnot. Needing to judge games for a games festival. Oh gosh, that sounds hard. Then after that, there's so much I should do, but also the more fun, creative things I want to do. Hey, you gotta take some time for yourself, Ocelot. And it's late where you are, so you gotta prioritize the fun stuff after you finish the judging. I was asked to judge speeches that, like, young, like, second or third graders were doing once, and it was the hardest thing I ever did. It was so hard to pick a winner because I didn't, like, they were all good for their age, and I didn't want to make them sad. They're babies who can tell a baby they didn't do as good as another baby. I know! And it's like teachers just have, they're used to grading that stuff and they just do it super fast. But I was like, oh no. I have to give some of them a better grade than the other. They can't all win. So I never did that again. Thinking of how you said good for their age weirdly reminded me of a recent murder trial I was semi-following. She killed her husband and was so guilty, saying guilty as sin would be an insult to sin, and the victim impact statements the advocate or social worker or whoever coached her young sons through was honest, but none of them are at the age that to write that shit themselves, so you could hear how the person was asking, how would you feel, how did you feel, how would you feel if, how did you feel when, and walking them through each element. The statement they made asking for their mom to be sentenced to life without the possibility of parole for killing their dad. Damn. What a shitty thing to have to go through as a kid. Like, those poor kids. Those poor kids. When I hear stories like that, I can't help feeling that there's no amount of therapy that can. There's no amount of therapy that can save a kid from that experience. You can try. But who knows how much they're going to have access to in the wake of that. Like, what's their living situation going to be? Who's going to help them process this? Like, how do you come out of that experience and have anything remotely resembling a normal life on the other side? Like, it just feels like those poor kids are doomed. Through no fault of their own, just unlucky birth circumstances. And you gotta imagine that their dad was probably, like, the parent that actually was good to them. A Delulu letter. The kids are with their paternal grandparents and they don't want to go anywhere else. I mean, I hope their paternal grandparents can help them, can get them the help that they need. Like, genuinely. But that's a rough situation for them to be in as well, you know? They're older in life, they lost their son. Who knows if they're in a financial situation to get the kids what they need, you know? Because unfortunately in our society, it all comes down to money. Jesus. These poor kids. Alright, 2,780 words for the first scene. And now we've got one more scene, hopefully slightly shorter, to fit Anne. Pi has already been here once before, actually. I think Pi was napping. All right, end of second sprint. We're at 3,285 words. We are about 500 words into our second scene, and I am well on my way to completing everything that I want to do with this act, which makes me very happy. We've got one more sprint to do, although I'm going to pop up that final sprint indicator now so that we know that we are about to hit the final stretch of stream. I'm trying to wrap up a little earlier today than I have been lately, because I have a lot to fit in this afternoon. So, hopefully, gonna try to wrap up about 15 or so minutes earlier than we have been. But we're gonna get the full amount of the productivity in there. Oh my goodness. Did I miss anything that I didn't? I think I kept up. I think I pretty much kept up during the... that sprint. During that sprinty spot. Peter, did you ever say how you're doing today? Are you feeling any better? Do you get good days? Do you get breaks from the pain sometimes? Can't remember if you answered. Wow. I just inhaled my own saliva. Good job, me. Speaking of breaks, I'm gonna go take my last one for the stream and do a little bit of my exercises that I gotta do. A little bit of stretching, and then when I come back, we will set up for the final sprint of the day. So if anybody wants to redeem a spirit companion, a location, or a activity to do, please feel free. Otherwise, I'll just pick something when I get back. Also, as usual, reminder, get up, stretch, move around, grab yourself something to eat and or drink, and I'll be back shortly. I'm back. Back and ready to settle in for our final sprint. Let's see. Will the fairy whisk with us? No, she doesn't. But I know somebody who does. Aw, yeah. What a cutie. What a cutie patootie. I'm doing pretty good, Ocelot. I'm up to 3,285 words. And we got one more 30-minute sprint to go. I don't know what almost came out of my lips just then. Got one 30-minute sprint to go. Hopefully gonna write about another 1,000 words to wrap this up. And then we will check on doing a raid. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and just let that timer go. I wrote 0 words, but I did transfer some files, and I am peckish. You're gonna have some food, Peter? I was gonna say lunch, but I guess maybe it would be dinner time for you? What is for din-din? I've forgotten how my computer works again. There we go. I'm like, where's the button? I always knew that bread had alcohol in it because my mom once got ID'd for bread. I know the science of yeast, that bread contains trace amounts, but what I did not know is that both bread rolls and apple juice contain more alcohol than a non-alcoholic Copaberg. Apple juice contains 0.2%. Apple juice contains 0.26% APV, and bread rolls contain up to 1.9. Wow, really? Interesting. So what, apple juice is just labeled as alcoholic in the UK? So basically, we're all just walking around drunk all the time, is what I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm learning new stuff too, Ocelot. I did know that you can, I mean, you can use grain, not necessarily bread, but you can use the grain that from which we make bread to make alcohol. And obviously they make alcohol from apples because cider, alcoholic cider is a thing. Alright. With 2 minutes to spare, I am finished and 4,895 words in, which is considerably more than I expected to do today. But you know what? It tells the story. It tells the story. Gonna check in with my husband if I'm not back in time. Wishing you and the community here well. Ocelot, thank you so much for hanging out. We appreciate you. I hope you have a fabulous rest of your night. In fact, I am going to open my Twitch and see about a raid. Let's see, who doth thee around? Not a ton of people who are doing writing at the moment. Tell that I need to go through my list and maybe clean it out a bit. Well, the only person I see co-working at the moment is Iced Vienna Latte, so we're gonna head over there again. We had a nice conversation the last time we went over there, so let's head over again. I am hoping to stream again next week, just a heads up. I think I'm only going to get 2 streams in next week, probably Tuesday and Wednesday. I probably won't stream Thursday for various reasons. One is I'm expecting by the second half of the week to not feel super great, and another is that I do have my MRI appointment coming up on Saturday, and just in case I'm a little bit stressy McMessy, I want to take that last part of the week a little bit easy. So I'm going to be aiming for Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And it'll be more of what we've been doing this week. We'll be doing some more writing on the Second Chance specials, which we started this week. And we'll be doing some more edits on the Celestial Serenade. Nothing fancy. But hopefully we'll get the 2 streams in. The next 2 weeks will be a little bit play by ear, because of course I'll have the usual lady stuff to deal with. But keep an eye on the Discord. I'll try to keep a schedule posted there, and I'll try to stick to the schedule as best I can. But I do promise that if I'm feeling really crummy and just feel like I need to take it easy, that I will do that, because I have definitely learned my lesson. You guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I really appreciate you. You're all amazing. I'm gonna get the raid started. I know I'm wrapping up a bit swiftly today, but it's because I got a lot to fit into the afternoon and I have to cook this evening, so just trying to stay on top of things. Thank you so much for hanging out. You guys are amazing. I really appreciate you. I know Thursday is kind of like the least active day on Twitch, so I just appreciate that so many people drop by and say hey and hang out for a hot second. Please remember to take care of yourselves as well. Remember to eat, to sleep, to drink, to get up and move around from time to time. Check in with yourself. Make sure you've got everything you need. And just honestly keep being awesome, which should be easy because all of you are pretty awesome by default. I will see you next week, hopefully, and until then, I wish you all the best productivity, creativity, and relaxivity in the world. See you again soon, my friends.